Hello friends, welcome back to this video. Here in this video we are going to discuss the compending. In my previous video I have already introduced what is non-uniform quantization. So there I told you in non-uniform quantization we have variable step size which is according to the amplitude of the message signal. So now compending is the exact process which is happening in the non-uniform quantization. Actually we are doing uniform quantization here only, but before that we are compressing the signal and at the receiver we are expanding the signal. So now if I talk about the word compending, this word is composed of two words. So compending is composed of compressor or compressing plus expanding. So now I hope you got the basic idea what is happening. We are compressing the signal, then we are passing it to the uniform quantizer, and then at the receiver we are expanding it. This is a very simple process. So now let's understand this with the help of an example. So now let's suppose a person is speaking in the mic. So the mic is converting the physical signal. So here I have physical signal. The mic will convert it into the electrical impulses or the electrical signal. So now this electrical signal is now fed to the compressor. So why it is fed to the compressor? After the mic, the output signal was something like this. So here we have small variation in the amplitude, whereas if I see this part here, I have very large variation in the amplitude. So now here after this we have a compressor. After the compressor, what I said, it will be going to the uniform quantizer. So all the steps will be happening, like sampling will also happen, but I am just mentioning all the steps which are required in the process of quantization. So here I am mentioning uniform quantization. So what happens to the signal after it is going to the compressor block? So after this block what will happen? The signal will look like this. So it will compress the signal, so it is compressing only the higher amplitude part. So now you can see the higher amplitude has compressed and there was no much effect on the lower amplitude. Actually the lower amplitude is got amplified. This is why both of the amplitudes are looking like the same. So here we have huge difference between high amplitude and low amplitude. Here we don't have that much difference between high amplitude and low amplitude. So what is happening? The dynamic range has now reduced. So what happens if I reduce the dynamic range? If I have same numbers of levels to denote the quantized output, so here the step size would be very less, here the step size would be very high. If the step size is high, what would happen? The quantization error would be high. So we'll understand all these things with the help of example. So here you can see the dynamic range has reduced. So now after that it will go to the encoder, then it will go to the channel. So here I am skipping all the blocks, I am just mentioning all the important blocks for compending. So now after the channel it will go to the decoder. Okay, so now decoder I am not mentioning, as again I am just mentioning all the blocks which are representing the compending process. So here we have expander. So now when I demodulated the signal according to the PCM decoding, so here again I'll get this signal because this signal was sent to the channel. So again I'll be getting this signal. So this is my signal. Now what will expander do? Expander is the reverse of compressor. So now expander will amplify the high amplitude signal and it will attenuate the low amplitude signal. So here I'll get the signal like this. So here the signal is like this, which is almost same to the input signal. So from here you got to know what is happening actually in this process. So here after the expander we have the speaker. So the speaker is again converting the electrical signal into the physical signal. So this is the process which is happening here. So now if I talk about the advantages of this process, so the advantages are, now you can guess the advantages. So the first advantage would be, what is happening? I have reduced the amplitude of high amplitude signal. So here I have reduced the dynamic range. Dynamic range is reduced. So this is the first application or the first advantage. So now here if I talk about the second advantage, so what would be the second advantage? Obviously if the dynamic range is reduced, then what would happen? The quantization error would reduce. So when the dynamic range is reduced, so I can say step size is reduced. So after that, when the step size is reduced, what happens? The quantization error will reduce. So let's understand this thing with the help of an example. So let's suppose we have a signal. So this is the signal. Like the way I took this signal, one signal is having very high amplitude and rest of the signals are small in amplitude. So now if I see the range initially, the range is from 0 to 1600. We are taking it. So range of amplitude is varying from 0 to 1600, and now if I have to denote it with the help of 16 levels. So one level would contain the step size. What was the formula of step size? Vmax minus Vmin upon L. So 1600 minus 0 upon 16. So step size is 100 in this case. So now after compending or just compressing, let's suppose it has reduced the dynamic range and it is now varying from 0 to 160. So now step size, I used to represent the step size with delta. So now delta is now 160 minus 0 upon the number of levels. Again if I am taking the levels is equal to 16. So del is now 10. So you can see step size has reduced tremendously. So now here when step size is reduced, the maximum quantization error, so maximum quantization error was del by 2 mod. So now if del reduce, QE max reduce. So when del decrease, QE decrease. So this is the direct formula. So from here I can conclude that the quantization error will reduce in this process. So this process is beneficial for us. So now talking about the third advantage. The third advantage is increase in efficiency or SNR. So obviously when the noise would reduce or the error would reduce, so that time SNR would increase, or I can say efficiency will also increase. Now if I talk about the last advantage, so the last advantage is that the gain would also increase. So let's understand how all these things are happening. So here I already told you it's the combination of two processes, compressing and expanding. So here if I talk about this compressor, so what kind of gain it should have? So if I plot the gain, so it is input voltage and this is output voltage. So the gain should be like this. So for higher input voltages, it is providing lower gain. So the gain is decreasing. So the gain is decreasing if I am moving from 0 to higher input voltage. So this is the gain. So this is gain. Okay, so gain is decreasing if I come to the higher amplitude values of input voltage. So what would happen in the expander? Let's suppose this is the expander and this is the input voltage. So here exactly opposite of the gain which is happening in the compressor, that would happen in the expander. So here the gain is high for high input values and gain is low for lower input values. So you can see that here if I have high amplitude values, I am attenuating them, and if I have low input values, I am amplifying them. Here also if I have high input values, so here I'll be doing the reverse. Here I am amplifying the high input values and here I am attenuating the low input values. So both of them will get compensated and I'll get my exact output, almost exact output. The output will never be the same because of quantization error, which is permanent. So now if I talk about the characteristics, so in the characteristics of compounding, if I draw the characteristics of the compressor, so if this is my input voltage, the characteristics of the compressor would be like this. So here I have high gain, so this is compressor. So at the low input voltages I have high gain, at high input voltages I have low gain. So this is the same process which I explained above. So now if I talk about the expander, so how can I make the characteristics of the expander? So this is input voltage, this is output voltage, and this is the expander. So here you can see we have high gain here, and here we have low gain, and here we have very high gain. This is the exponential type of graph. So now if I increase the input voltage, the gain would increase very much. So now this is the characteristics of the expander. Now if I combine both of them, so what would happen? So this is my input voltage, this is my output voltage. These are the negative V in, this is negative V out. So here if I draw both of them, so this is the compounder, this both comprises the compounder. So this is compressor. So here I plotted the characteristics of the compressor. The compressor is like this. So if I want to make the same opposite of the compressor, the expander will look like this. So this is expander. So here we have this function which is the linear function. So when I combine compressor and expander, I'll get the linear function. So similarly, if I plot in the negative direction, so here this is compressor and this is expander and this is the linear. This is the linear variation. So it is the combination of compressor and expander. Whenever these both have exact opposite characteristics, we'll get the linear output. So whenever these both have exactly opposite characteristic, the output would be same exactly as the input, only the quantization error would be there. So now here if I talk about the applications of compounding, so the first application is it is used to improve the audio signal. Now what is the second application? It is used to improve the musical instruments voice. Or I can say musical instruments sound exactly. So now the next advantage would be it is used in the Dolby noise reduction. Next, it is used in the professional wireless microphones. After that, it is used in the analog recordings. and we all know it is used in the PCM, so for reducing the step size. So what happens when we reduce the step size? Quantization error would decrease. So here the noise interference would also decrease. So let's understand how. So this is my signal before compending. So after that it is compressed when it is passed to the channel. So it is like this now. So now here it is in the channel. In the channel it is traveling in the compressed form only, and after that it is received in the compressed form, then it is expanded in the actual form. So this is the signal again. So this is the compressed form, this is also the compressed form. So now if I have this to be my noise base level, so you can see this is the difference between the noise level and the signal, and here you can see the distance between the noise level and the signal level will increase after compressing. So the noise can interfere less into this signal. So this is the beauty of the compending, that it is increasing the signal to noise ratio also, because the noise can interfere very less now. So now if I talk about the types of compending, so we have two types. So first is mu law compending, and the second one is A law compending. So what are mu law compending and A law compending? So here the mu law compending is used in the PCM telephonic system in Japan. So I'll be writing it full. So it is used in PCM telephonic system. It is used in the PCM telephonic system in Japan, US and Canada. So according to the mu law compending, so the output voltage is given by signum of m ln 1 plus m mu upon ln 1 plus mu. So now what is m? M is my normalized value of x input signal, which is x upon x max. So it is the normalized value. So let's understand how this signal is a compended signal. So if I talk about the low frequency signal, so if I have the m whose value is very less, so when this m is having the value very less, this signal will depend upon the value m only. Now if I have the value m very high, then this value depend upon the ln of m. So this is how I am changing my signal, and its amplitude is amplified and attenuated as well. So now coming to the A law compending. So it is used in the PCM telephonic system in Europe and Asia. So now here if I talk about V, here I have same signal which is representing the lower amplitude signals as well, higher amplitude signal as well. So from here only I can derive that it is attenuating the high amplitude signal and amplifying the low amplitude signal. You can put the different values of m and you can verify it. But here I have separate formulas for the lower amplitude signal and higher amplitude signal. So V is equal to A modulus of m upon 1 plus log of A when 0 is less than m is less than 1 by A. So when m is in between 1 by A to 0, so that time you can see directly output is varying directly with respect to m. So now here V is equal to so I'll write it again here. So condition is 1 by A less than equal to M less than equal to infinity. So when the M value, the normalized value is greater than 1 by A, so that time the output will be 1 plus log AM upon 1 plus log A. So from here you can directly see that the value of output depend upon the log of AM. So now here you can see that output will depend upon log of M when the value of M is high, and it depends upon M only when the value of M is less. So here if I talk about the quantization, so after that we'll be doing the uniform quantization. So here mostly we do the mid-rise quantization, and here we do mid-tread quantization. Now you can see the graph of A as well as mu. So the highest value of mu is 255, and practically also the value of mu which is used is 255. But when I talk about A, the highest value of A would be 100, but the practically usable value of A is 87.6. So this is the difference between the A law compounding and the mu law compounding. So now I hope you are clear about each and every concept related to non-uniform quantization and compounding. So still if you have any doubt, you can put the doubt in the comment, because I am stopping my discussion here. I hope you like this video. If you like it, share it with your friends, subscribe the channel and push the like button. Thank you.